everybody, and welcome back to Sunshine and Serenity. And today I'm going to share with you some tips and some tricks that you can do in your kitchen and in your household to help you not only make all of your food stretch and last, but also save you lots of money at the grocery store, because we all know inflation is real, right? We are struggling with inflation, and it's a huge mess right now in all areas. Whether you're just a family or whether you're a farmer, there are inflated costs everywhere. So with costs on the rise, what can you do to make sure that you are staying budget friendly in your kitchen? I'm going to show you how. Stay tuned. All right, so if you are new, welcome to the channel. We are so excited that you are here. We are a family in Central Arkansas, Zone 7. We are gardening and homesteading on our very first property. We have rabbits and chickens. I've been canning for many years, so if you haven't followed our journey, we are excited to have you. Welcome, and I hope you stay tuned and stay on for the ride of this awesome journey that we're on. If you are a returning viewer, we are happy to have you back. Thank you, as always, for supporting our channel. If you will take a moment and hit the like and subscribe button, that just helps to get our channel out to more people and helps us to be able to share our story and our information to more people. So we would appreciate it if you would give us a thumbs up, a like, and then you can also hit subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. That'll notify you every time we upload a video. Okay, so today I'm going to give you some tips to be able to help stretch your grocery budget further, and then in the next video I'm going to walk you through kind of what that looks like. So this first video is just going to be kind of an introduction, giving you some things that you can put into motion in order to take your kitchen budget to the next level. And then in the next video that I will be posting following up this one, will actually show you how I implement that in my kitchen. So, all right, so here we go. So the first tip would be to do an inventory of your pantry. So what do I mean by this? I mean, you need to go through your freezers, you need to go through your pantry, anywhere that you have food. You need to take into account, write down, keep a list. However you need to do it, you need to go through what you have, write down what you have, or sort of maybe if you're good at keeping things in your head, kind of look to see what you have already that you can use in your meal planning. So we have several freezers. So I actually did this the other day just to lay eyes on what we still had in our freezers, and I went ahead and did a whole another inventory, updated inventory of what we have, just so that I'm able to, like I said, lay eyes on what we have, make sure that we're using what we have efficiently. Because how many of you are guilty of, if you have a freezer, especially a deep freeze, letting things just kind of fall to the bottom or kind of get pushed to the back of the shelf and you forget about them, right? So this is a way for you not to forget about those things. So the first step would be do an inventory of everything that you have. Okay, so after you do an inventory, what do you do next? My next tip would be to make you a weekly meal plan. Now, I say weekly instead of monthly because I like to do just broken out by weeks, because that is easier for me to be able to see, okay, this is what we're having, and be able to plan ahead to fix extra and then carry that into the next week's meals. So I do mine weekly. It's just easier for me. Do what works for you and your family, but I suggest after doing an inventory, do a weekly meal plan. Now, when you're making your weekly meal plan, you are making your meals from your inventory of things that you already have. So the first step is to, a lot of people think about, oh, I'm going to weekly meal plan, or I'm going to meal plan every month, and they look up recipes online and they say, oh, I want to try that, and they go out and they run out and buy all these ingredients to make one meal. That is not saving you money, especially in today's economy. So my suggestion would be, do the inventory, see what you have, what meals you can make from those things that you already have. That keeps you from, number one, going to the grocery store to buy unnecessary ingredients. It's saving you money. It's using what you have so that you're making room for new groceries in the future if you need to bring in new stuff. So like for us, we're trying our best to go through our freezer meat, because in the spring we buy a quarter of a cow from a local farmer every spring. And so we're having to go through our freezer, make sure we're using things up before they go bad or they expire, using things up to be able to make room for that meat that we're having to get in the spring. So do your inventory and then make your weekly meal plan based on what you have in your pantry or in your freezer, because it is always cheaper to make meals from the things you already have versus having to go out and buy things just to make meals, right? So my third tip would be, if you do have to go out and buy anything, say you're running low on something, my tip is always to shop the sales, and to always, if you come across a really good sale, always buy extra, put it in your pantry for later. That way, when you need to use that item again for another meal, or you want to have more, more of what you had previously, you already have that in your pantry, and you can shop your pantry versus having to run to the store and actually pay more for it when it's not on sale. So if you do have to do that, and I always say to stock up, always buy more than what you're going to use just initially, because it's saving you money in the long run. Okay, so after you have your weekly meal plan, so you have, 1, you've checked your inventory of everything you have. 2, you've made your weekly meal plan. And so step number 3 would be, if you are going to be cooking something, so say like Monday, we had a cheeseburger macaroni. So it's like a homemade hamburger helper. So instead of just cooking 1 pound of ground beef, I went ahead and I cooked 3 pounds of ground beef. That way, I had ground beef already cooked and ready in my fridge that I could use for Wednesday's chili, which is what we're having tonight. Today is Wednesday. And then Thursday or Friday's lasagna. So that is saving me time, because I'm already cooking hamburger meat anyways for meal. So why not just make extra, throw it in my fridge, and all I have to do is throw a meal together at night. This comes in really handy if you are a busy family, a busy household, you have activities in the evenings, and you're always rushed around dinner time, and you're like, what am I going to make? So number 1, making a meal plan is going to help you have an idea of what you're going to make for meals, so that you're not trying to figure out last minute, what am I going to make? I don't have anything thought out. I don't have anything ready. What am I going to make for dinner? This is saving you that time and that, having to think about that, because you've already got a plan in motion. And then this is just a kind of a loose plan. So if you have to change a meal one night, or say like last night we did chili, but the beans didn't get quite done by dinner time, I just went ahead and I just put that back in the crock pot today, set it back on its temperature, and then we will be able to have that for tonight for meals. So you can kind of make a loose plan if you have to change a meal, something like that. At least you kind of have a loose plan in place, so that you are able to move and adapt those things as needed. So so always make extra. Like Monday morning, I made pancakes for my kids. Instead of just making enough for them to eat that morning, I went ahead and made I tripled the batch, and I took those pancakes, I put them in a freezer bag, threw them in the freezer. So now on our busy mornings, when I don't have time to actually make a breakfast and we have to be out the door, they can grab a pancake that I made out of the freezer, throw it in the toaster, and we're not having to rely so much on those convenience foods that aren't necessarily so great for us, right? A lot of times, the reason we fall back on convenience foods, things that are essentially not real foods, they're full of preservatives and harmful ingredients, things like that. The reason why we fall back on those is because we don't have a plan in place, right? So like on a busy morning, instead of, my kids grabbing maybe a Pop-Tart or, something sugary, donuts or something like that, they can grab a pancake that I know what all ingredients are in it because I made them, and it's just as quick and easy as some of those convenience foods are. So having a plan will help you be able to not fall back on those convenience foods as much, maybe not rely on eating out as much. I know we had a season of life where we were really bad about that. Like I didn't have a plan in place for dinner, and I was just like, oh, I don't really feel like doing anything. And then we fell back on those convenient ways of getting food, right? So having a plan in place definitely is helpful for that. So those would be my top tips. Like I said, look what you have in your pantry. Try to use what you have in pantries for meals. Make your weekly meal plan. If you have to shop sales, stock up on things for later. That way you're not having to spend more money on it later. And then when you're making meals, make extra and utilize that. So another example would be like Sunday night, we're going to be having, I'm going to do spatchcock chicken in the oven. Instead of making just one whole chicken for my family, I'm going to go ahead and do 2 chickens because they're cooking at the same time anyways. And then I can take that chicken off the bone, shred it, put it in the fridge, and I can utilize that and make my weekly meal plan, some of my meals based off of that chicken I already have in the fridge. That's saving me time. I'm not having to, think about what am I going to do. I'm not having to necessarily cook a full meal every single night because I already have some of that already prepped ahead of time. And so that's just saving me time, being able to utilize what I have. And if I'm going to be cooking something anyways, might as well cook extra for next week and not have to cook that again, right? So that would be, that's just a helpful tip right there. My last tip and final tip would be try to utilize as much of your leftovers as possible. So right now in the month of January and February, I've been doing a pantry challenge. So what that is a challenge that is trying to use what we have in the house between our freezers and our pantries without having to go out and buy things. Obviously, I do have to buy dairy because we don't have a dairy animal here on our farm. So I'm having to buy dairy and some like fresh produce every week. But I'm trying not to go to the grocery store and buy any unnecessary things just because. So I'm trying to utilize all of my leftovers in the best way possible. So an example of that is I had some leftover corn and a few other leftover things in the fridge from one meal. And I threw that together, made a tortilla soup the next day. So, that way you're utilizing your leftovers. They're not going bad in your fridge. And you're making that food stretch as far as possible because the last thing we want to do is have a bunch of food waste, right? Because that's just wasted money, when you could be using it for something else. So like I said, this is the first video in this short series that I'm going to do. The next video that you guys will see will actually have these principles in motion. I have been filming my meals as I've made them, kind of explaining these things to you. So the next video you watch probably won't be very much of me talking like this. It'll be more of what I'm actually doing in the kitchen and just short, clips put together here of each of my meals to kind of give you an idea of how to put this in motion. But I would say start small. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? We, do a little bit, do what you can. Like I said, if it's just making your week by week meal plan and just doing a weekly meal plan, just having something loose. You don't even have to have 3 meals a day. I put 3 meals a day on here just so I kind of had an idea because, again, we do homeschool our kids. And so I am having to figure out what we're going to have for breakfast and lunch here because they are not at school for those meals because we school at home. So I'm having to figure that out. But even if you just do a weekly meal plan and you just do dinner, I did that for the longest time. I just would put what we were having for dinner and then the rest we would kind of figure out as it goes. This gives me a little more in-depth detail to where I can plan ahead. Like Tuesday morning we had an egg hash brown casserole with some sausage in it. I prepped that casserole the night before, threw it in the fridge, and all I had to do was throw it in the oven the next morning. But if I didn't know that that's what we were going to make Tuesday morning, I would have had that already prepped, and we probably would have fallen back on some not so healthy options that you shouldn't really eat all the time. So that's just the reason that I do 3 meals a day. But put some of these things in motion. See if they help your family. See if they help you budget-wise. I can tell you that it has helped us tremendously save money because I am just utilizing what we already have. So instead of shopping at the grocery store, I'm shopping my pantry. I'm shopping my freezers. I'm using what we have here. In turn, is also using less gas because we live 20 minutes out of town. So it's a lot of gas to have to go back and forth to the grocery store if you're having to go several times a week versus if you already use what you have on hand, or if you go to the grocery store and you stock up while you're there, you're not having to make multiple trips. So you're saving gas, you're saving in groceries, you're being able to feed your family home cooked meals from from real foods, from things that you have. You're not relying on fast food, which is not healthy for us. You're not relying on convenience foods so much, or prepackaged foods, which are also not as great for and healthy for us. So do what you can where you are. Use what you have. Be creative. You may not be able to make, fancy, meals that are different every night. There are many times that we eat a lot of the same things on a weekly basis. Maybe we'll have pasta on a regular basis, or maybe we'll have, homemade pizza every Friday night. You're not necessarily going to get a ton of variety. You may have to eat some of the same meals, but you're saving money in the long run by doing that. So I hope this video was helpful. If you made it this far with me, I appreciate it, and I thank you for that. Again, keep an eye out for video 2. It'll have everything that I've done in the kitchen for the last couple of weeks. I will be posting that next week, and that'll kind of show you how I put that into practice at home. And yeah, so I hope this was helpful for you. I hope maybe you can put some of these in motion and be able to help your family, because we all know, like, it's crazy. Inflation is absolutely horrendous right now, and it is very hard for working families to just get by on day to day. So I totally understand, and I feel that we are a one income family, so I totally understand how that is. So I hope this is helpful for you guys, in maybe it'll help you guys be able to stretch that a little further. So thank you for watching. Again, hit the like and subscribe button. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you do any of these things that I've said, if you weekly meal plan, or if you have any other tips and tricks that can help other people as well that I didn't mention in this video. Drop those in the comment below, because we are all here to help each other. We are here as part of a community, and we are trying to just help each other get through these unprecedented times, right? So thank you again for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Stay safe, stay warm, and until next time, friends, we'll see you later. Bye.